Hello students, I am Anshul Khanna and I teach at Sri Chaitanya Vijayawada Goshala. Today we will be doing the chapter of Newton's law. It's a very easy topic. I am again saying it's a very easy topic and scoring topic and forms the basic of mechanics. If you don't like this topic or you find it tough, then listen to everything I say carefully. The type of question that comes from Newton's law in NEET are very easy. As a matter of fact, the type of question which come in NEET from entire mechanics is very easy. So focus and without wasting time, let's start. Newton gave us three laws. The first law tells us any object in state of rest or uniform motion will remain so unless some net external force acts on it. In the nutshell, the Newton's first law tells us that the velocity of the particle will be constant till the time any external force acts on it. Now here the key word is velocity, and velocity is a vector quantity. It has got both magnitude as well as direction. So if the direction of motion changes, it means that velocity has changed, or if the magnitude changes, it also means that velocity has changed. To change either one of them means that you are changing the velocity. The velocity of particle will only change when some net external force acts on it. If no net external force acts on it, then the particle will keep on moving in a straight line with the same magnitude of velocity. That's what Newton's first law says. Now moving on to Newton's second law. Newton's second law tells us the net external force acting on a particle is equal to the rate of change of momentum with respect to time. So F equals to dp by dt. This is actually the statement of Newton's second law. Force acting equals to rate of change of momentum with respect to time. Every time you see these type of differential equation, you should instantly get two things. First, the slope of momentum time graph will give you force, because the slope of y-x graph gives you dy by dx. So the slope of momentum time graph will give you dp by dt. So the slope of momentum time graph, which will be dp by dt, gives you force, and the area under the force time graph will give you momentum. So slope of momentum time graph gives you force, and area under force time graph will give you the change in momentum. Now see, here we can write momentum as mass times velocity. So force equals to dmv by dt. Now here you have got two terms, m and v. Applying the multiplication rule, you can write this numerator as dm into v by dt plus m into dv by dt. In usual cases of rigid body, as the body moves, the mass do not change. Yes, in some cases the mass of the body do change. So if the mass of the body is not at all changing, then we can write this infinitely small change in mass as 0. And then for constant mass cases, only, this first term becomes 0, and we get force equals to m dv by dt, or we can get F equals to ma. If somebody asks you, is F equals to ma Newton's second law? No. F equals to dp by dt is Newton's second law. F equals to ma is a special case of second law when the mass of the system is constant. One more thing, since force is defined as the rate of change of momentum with respect to time, we define one more quantity, average force. Average force is defined as the total change in momentum upon the total time taken. Let's start understanding better with some examples. Let's say in a gravity-free region, there is no gravity, a ball of mass m goes towards a wall which is fixed with a speed v, and then after collision with the wall, it bounces back with a speed v by 2. If the collision time is t, determine the average force applied by wall on the ball. So here you will say, first the ball has got velocity v towards right. After collision, the ball has got velocity v by 2 towards left. This means that the change in velocity of ball is not at all v by 2. No, it is 3v by 2. Why? Velocity is a vector quantity. Initially, it is towards right. Finally, it is towards left. Or you can think in terms of I cap, j cap, k cap. Initial velocity will be written as vi cap. Final velocity will be written as minus v by 2 I cap. So do final minus initial, you will get 3v by 2. So the magnitude of change in velocity is 3v by 2. So the change in momentum has to be mass times the change in velocity. That gives you m into 3v by 2. So this is the change in momentum. Now the average force acting has to be nothing but the change in momentum, that is 3 mv by 2 upon the time taken. So 3 mv by 2t will be the average force acting on this ball during the collision. Next example. A person fires n bullet each of mass m with speed v, n bullet each of mass m with speed v per second. So every second the person fires n bullets. Find the recoil force on the gun. So for every single bullet coming out, the momentum that the bullet have, every single bullet is mv. In 1 second, how many bullets are coming out? In 1 second, the number of bullets coming out are n. So the total momentum transferred to the bullet per second. So momentum transfer to bullet per second equals to the number of bullet multiplied by the momentum transferred to one bullet. This is the momentum transferred per second. Beta, the momentum transferred per second itself is the force. So you will say the average force acting on the bullets has to be equal to n mv. Whatever the force, average force the gun applies on bullet, the same average force the bullet applies on the gun. Let's take one more example. There is this pipe from which water comes out. 3 kg of water moving with speed of 5 meter per second. So this water comes out and move with speed of 5 meter per second. It strikes the block and then comes to rest. Find the acceleration of block. So every second 3 kg of mass comes out, it hits the block and then comes to rest. Before hitting, what is the momentum carried by this 3 kg of mass? So mass is 3 kg hitting per second, speed is 5 meter per second. So momentum before hitting is 15. So momentum initial is 15. Momentum final is 0 because it comes to rest. So the change in momentum of water, if I ask you change in momentum magnitude wise, will be equals to 15. This change in momentum of water happens in how much time? This happens every second, because every second 3 kg of water is coming out. If this is the change in momentum happening every second, this is the force. So the average force applied by block on water is 15. The change in momentum upon time, since the time is 1 second, we still get the same numerical value. Now, if the block applies a force of 15 on the water jet, the force applied by water jet on block also have to be 15. So if the force on the block is 15, the acceleration of block has to be the force acting on it upon its mass, because we know that F equals to ma. So the acceleration comes out to be 15 by 5, that is 3 meter per second square. We learned Newton's law through examples, so I will be taking many examples here. Let's get started. First example, there is a balloon in air. The balloon has got mass of 10 kg, in space. The balloon has got mass of 10 kg and 2 kg of gas comes out per second with a speed of 20 meter per second. Find the acceleration of balloon. So beta, in 1 second, how much mass comes out? 2 kg. And with how much speed? 20 meter per second. So the momentum with which the gas comes out is 40. This is the momentum with which the gas comes out. And this much momentum, it comes out every second. So every 1 second, the momentum given to gas is 40. So the force on the gas has to be 40. If the force on the gas has to be 40, then the acceleration has to be how much? If the force by balloon on gas is 40, then the force by gas on balloon is 40. So the acceleration has to be 40 by 10, that is 4 meter per second square. But now somebody sitting among you must be thinking, but sir, after 1 second, since 2 kg of gas has came out, the mass will be 8 kg. Okay, so for you, think of it this way, rather than thinking for 1 second, think for a time frame dt, infinitely small frame dt. In a time dt, how much mass of gas will come out? So if 2 kg comes out per second, so in a time dt, the mass of gas coming out will be 2 into dt. In the time dt, how much momentum will be transferred? Infinitely small momentum. That will be equal to infinitely small mass that comes out times its change in velocity. Inside the balloon, speed is 0. After coming out, speed is 20. So the change in velocity is 20. So here, on substituting the value of dm as 2 dt into 20, you get dp by dt, which is nothing but the force, as 40. So you get the same force. And in an infinitely small frame of time dt, there won't be appreciable change in mass. So the acceleration again comes out to be 4 meter per second square. So you can think in terms of 1 second or think in terms of dt. Technically, thinking in terms of dt is better, but if that confuses you, think in terms of 1 second. Next example, there is a rocket standing on Earth. There is a rocket standing on Earth. 20 kg of gas comes out per second and moves with velocity of 100 meter per second. Find the acceleration. So now here, if 20 kg comes out per second, now I will work for 1 second. So in 1 second, the mass that comes out is 20 kg. The speed with which it comes out is 100. So the momentum transferred to gas per second is 2000. The momentum transferred per second itself is the force. So the force acting on the gas per second, 2000. The momentum transfer per second, that is the force, 2000. So the force on this rocket also have to be 2000. So the acceleration of rocket has to be 2000 divided by the mass of rocket, 1000, that is 2 meter per second square. No, wrong solution. Why? Reason being, the upthrust provided by this gas coming out is 2000 Newton, no doubt about that. But this much of force is not sufficient to lift the rocket. Why? Because the earth will pull the rocket down with the force of gravity, and the force of gravity equals to mg, that is 1000 into 10, that is 10,000. So as to lift this rocket up, at least 10,000 Newton of force is required. But the upthrust provided is less than that. Upthrust provided is 2000. That's why the rocket won't lift up and the acceleration is 0. But sir, what if they give that the rocket is in space? Then you will get the acceleration of 2 meter per second square. Next example. Now again, let's say we have got rocket of mass 1000 kg. This time also the rocket is on Earth. Rocket is on Earth. 50 kg of gas comes out per second with the speed of 1 kilometer per second. 1 kilometer per second. So the mass that comes out per second is 50 kg. And the speed with which it comes out is 1 kilometer per second, that is 1000 meter per second. So the momentum transferred to the gas is 50,000. This much of momentum is transferred per second. So this is the downward force on gas. So the magnitude of force on gas is 50,000. So same amount of force is applied by gas on rocket. So the upward force is 50,000. Now, if the rocket is even on Earth, then upward force on rocket is 50,000. Force of gravity is 1000 into 10, that is 10,000. Let's say it has an upward acceleration A. The net force in direction of acceleration equals to mass into acceleration. The net force upward comes out to be 40,000. 50,000 minus 1000, 40,000. This has to be equal to mass 1000 into acceleration. So the acceleration comes out to be upward 40 meter per second square in this case. Next example. Here they have given us a force time graph and it looks like a trapezium. And they are asking what is the change in momentum between time equals to 0 and time equals to 8. So now here we know that the area under force time graph gives us the change in momentum. So the change in momentum has to be nothing but the area under force time graph. But how much area should I take? You should take the area under the curve from time equals to 0 to time equals to 8. So this much of area. And this much of area will be nothing but half into sum of parallel side. This is 8 and this length will be 8 minus 2, that is 6, into the separation between them, that is 20. So here you get 14 into 10, that is 140. So now let's talk about Newton's third law. Newton's third law is so popular that everybody knows it. So the statement goes, for every action there is an equal and opposite action. But what you should know extra is this thing. For every action there is an equal and opposite action. Everybody knows it nowadays. And the action reaction pair act on different body simultaneously. Actually, they are not at all action and reaction. They don't have the cause and effect relationship. It's not like I slapped someone, so somebody slapped me back. That is not at all case. Now, what does it mean? If I start pushing this board, as soon as my hand starts applying some force on the board At the same instant, the board starts applying some force on my hand. Who applies force first? My hand on board or the board on my hand? The two forces act simultaneously. So which one is action? Which one is reaction? Some people say that the force applied by me on board is action and the force applied by board on me is reaction, which is again incorrect. In the frame of board, my hand moved towards the board and pushed the board. But in the frame of my hand was static. The board moved towards my hand and started pushing my hand. So, in action-reaction pair, you can take any particular force as action. If you call one force action, then the other force must be called reaction. So, if there is a football and I go and kick it, the force applied by my foot on football, if that is taken as action, then the force applied by football on my foot will be taken as reaction. They have equal magnitude, they act in the opposite direction, and they act on two different bodies simultaneously. So this is the classical question that gets asked on Newton's third law. There is a table, on table there is a block of mass m. You know that a force of gravity acts downward, mg. A force of normal acts upward, and if the body is at rest, this force of normal also equals to mg. Now question is, out of these two forces, mg and normal, which one is action, which one is reaction? The answer is, my question is absurd. Why? Because these two forces are not at all action-reaction pair. Why? The first hint, they act on the same body. Second thing, Earth pulls the block down with a force mg. The block pulls the earth up with the same force. That is one action-reaction pair. The block pushes the table down with a force mg and the table pushes the block up. That is another action-reaction pair. This mg and this normal are not at all action-reaction pair. So now, moving on to some constantly required things in this chapter. First, normal force. Why is normal force called normal force? It's called normal force because it normally acts. Yes. Normal force is called normal force because it acts normally. That is in the direction of normal. But what is the meaning of normal? The mathematical definition of normal is perpendicular to tangent. Now, if you have got any curve and at any point on the curve, if you draw a perpendicular to tangent, that is called normal. But one strong thing that has to be remembered here. Normal is perpendicular to tangent, okay. At sharp point and extreme, tangent is not defined and so is the normal. If you ever find this type of surface, you can draw tangent here, draw tangent here, draw tangent here, but you can't draw tangent at this sharp point. Since at sharp point, tangent is not at all defined, that's why normal is not at all defined as well. As well as at extreme, at the end point, the tangent is not defined. So at the end point, the normal is also not defined. So normal force is called normal force because it acts in the direction of normal. Where? What? At the point of contact, look at the normal and the normal force will act in the direction of normal. I do not understand. Let's see. Let's say there is a block placed on a surface. Look at the point of contacts. These two form a surface. Now the normal force will act in the direction of normal to this surface. Okay. Second case, a sphere placed on a surface. Look at the point of contact. This is the tangent on sphere, this is the tangent on surface. The normal force acts in the direction of normal. Next case, a ladder resting against a wall and ground. Now, at this lowest point, it is the extreme of ladder. So the tangent of ladder here is not defined. Since the tangent of ladder here is not defined, the normal of ladder here is not defined. But at this point, the tangent on floor is defined. So the normal on floor is defined. So the floor applies a normal force on this ladder upward. Let's call this one N1. Similarly, where the ladder rests on the wall, at that point also, that is the extreme point of ladder, and at extremes, tangent is not defined. So at this point, the normal of rod is not defined, but at this point, the normal of wall is defined. So since at this point, the normal of wall is defined, the force will act along the normal of wall. So the force applied by wall on rod here will be towards right. Let's call it N2. Let's take one more example. What if the wall do not have sufficient length? Again, looking here on floor. Here, since it is extreme point for ladder, here the tangent on ladder is not defined, so normal on the ladder is not defined. But at this point on ground, the ground has a tangent, so ground has a normal. So force will act along the normal to the ground. Let's call it upward N1. But this is the point of interest right now. The place where the ladder touches the wall. At this point, it is the extreme point for the wall. At this point, the tangent to the wall is not defined. But at this point, the tangent to the ladder is defined. So at this point, the normal to the ladder is defined. So the force will act along the normal to the ladder. Let's call it N2. One thing that you must remember about normal. The force of normal is always pushing in nature. The surface pushes the block away from it. The block tries to push surface away from it. The surface tries to push sphere away from it. The sphere tries to push this surface away from it. Here, for ladder, the ground pushes the ladder up, the ladder pushes the ground down. So the force of normal is pushing in nature. Next thing that we have to talk about is tension. Tension acts along the length of string and tension is pulling in nature. For example, let's say there is a ceiling and from the ceiling we have connected a string and I am holding the string but not straight down at some angle. The string pulls both its ends. The string pulls the ceiling along its length as well as pulls your hand along its length. So the force of tension acts along the length of string and is pulling in nature. Let's take one more example, a mass hanged from a ceiling using a thread. What is the direction of force applied by this thread on ceiling? It will try to pull the ceiling down as well as it will pull the block up. The force of tension acts along the length of string and is pulling in nature. It pulls both sides. Let's take one more example. Let's say we have got this ceiling and from 2 points on this ceiling a chain is hanged. And let's say these are the two angles made by the chain. What is the direction of force applied by chain on this ceiling at this right point? So now here, the force of tension acts along the length of string and is pulling in nature. But which length? The local length. So now here the string will pull the ceiling. The force by this chain on ceiling will be in this direction, pulling in nature. So now let's do equilibrium of particle. A system is said to be in mechanical equilibrium when the net force acting on the system is 0 as well as net torque acting on the system is 0. The net force acting we will discuss here because we are doing Newton's law. So the net force has to be 0 in all directions, then only you can say that the system is in mechanical equilibrium. Now there is a theorem called Lami's theorem. Let's understand it. If a particle is at equilibrium under the effect of three forces F1, F2, F3 acting on it, such that the angle opposite to F1 is alpha, angle opposite to F2 is beta, and angle opposite to F3 is gamma. If the body is in equilibrium, which means that the resultant of these three forces is 0, then F1 by sine alpha equals to F2 by sine beta equals to F3 by sine gamma. Lami's theorem is a useful theorem. It helps in solving question quickly. But I know that students don't like it because when you apply Lami's theorem, you get sine of 150, sine of 120 and that is sometimes a problem. So for that kids, remember sine of 90 plus theta is cos theta. So if you ever get sine of 150, don't even think of sine of 150 as sine of 150. No, think of it as sine of 90 plus 60. So sine of 90 plus 60 is cos 60 and cos 60 is half. Similarly, if you get sine of 120, that is sine of 90 plus 30, that is cos 30. Cos 30 is root 3 by 2. So that is quite easy thing. Second thing, Lami's theorem works only for three forces. And when they add up to 0, when the net force is 0, only then you can apply Lami's theorem. So now, let's do some question using Lami's theorem. There is a block of mass 10 kg on which a horizontal force F is applied. At equilibrium, the string makes an angle of 30 degree with the vertical. They are asking what is the force applied and what is the tension in string. There are two ways to approach this question. First, making the free body diagram of the block. Look at all the forces acting on it. A force F acting towards right. A downward force of gravity, that will be mg, that will be 100 Newton. M into g, 10 into 10, 100. And there will be a force of tension at an angle of 30 degree with the vertical. You can break down, assuming this force of tension is T, into two components, horizontal and vertical. Now, vertical component will be written as T cos 30, that is T root 3 by 2. And the horizontal component will be written as T sin 30, and sin 30 is half, so T by 2. And a force F here and a force of 100 here. If the net force has to be 0, then you can say, the upward force T root 3 by 2 equals to 100. So tension has to be 200 by root 3. And T by 2 equals to F. So the force acting has to be equals to T by 2, has to be equals to 200 root 3 by 2, that is 100 by root 3. So you have found both T and F. This is one way. Another way, you can apply Lami's theorem. Look at this block, and at this block, three forces are acting. A force F here, a force of tension here, and a force of gravity downward 100. The angle between this force of F and 100, the force, horizontal force and gravity is 90. The angle between T and F, this angle is 30, so this angle is also 30. So this angle comes out to be 90 plus 30, that is 120 degree. And this remaining angle has to be 360 minus 120 minus 90, this angle has to be 150 degree. Now you can write T by sin 90. I am using this space as well. You can write T by sin 90, that is 1, equals to 100 by sin 120. And sin 120 can be written as cos 30, and cos 30 is root 3 by 2. So 100 by root 3 by 2 equals to F by sin 150. And sin 150 here, sin 150 should be written as sin of 90 plus 60, that is cos 60, that becomes half. So see, this is a one-liner solution. You directly get T equals to 200 by root 3, and F comes out to be, this half get cancelled out, F simply comes out to be 100 by root 3. So Lami's theorem is a useful theorem, and most of the question you will get in any paper, the forces involved will be 3, but component method is also important, because sometimes the force might be 3 or 4, and Lami's theorem works only when the forces balance each other. Component method works everywhere. Both are important. So now, one more example. There is a block of mass 10 kg being held by two strings. The angle made by them with the vertical is 60 and 30. You have to find the tension in the two strings. So I will again use Lami's theorem to solve this. So here a force is T1, here a force T2, and downward a force of gravity that has to be 100 Newton. M into G, 10 into 10, 100. You can see that this is 60, this is 30, so this angle has to be 90. Now, what has to be the angle opposite to T2? Kids, this angle is 60. So this angle also has to be 60. So 60 plus 90. So this whole angle becomes equals to 150 degree. Similarly, this is 30. So this angle is also 30. This angle is also 30. 30 plus 90. So this whole angle becomes 120 degree. So you can write T1 by sin 120. Don't write sin 120. Sin 120, sin of 90 plus 30, cos 30, root 3 by 2 equals to T2 by sin 150. Sin 150 is as good as sin of 90 plus 60, that is cos 60, right half, equals to 100 by sin 90, that becomes 100. So here, equating, you can write T1 equals to 100 root 3 by 2, that is 50 root 3, and T2 equals to 100 by 2, that is 50. Hello, so now let's continue talking about equilibrium. Now let's say there is a particle on which four forces act, F1, F2, F3, F4. And if the resultant of these four forces are 0, then I can say that vector f1 plus vector f2 plus vector f3 plus vector f4 has to be 0. Notice that I said vector f1. I did not say magnitude of f1. So vector f1 plus vector f2 plus vector f3 plus vector f4 has to be 0. What I want to take your attention here is this. Let's say these four forces add up to 0. If I think of only the force F4, okay, this is the force F4. This force F4 is being balanced by the resultant of F1, F2, F3. If the net force is 0, this force F4 is being balanced by the resultant of F1, F2, F3 if the net force is 0. So I can say that the resultant of F1, F2, F3 has to be equal and opposite to F4. Similarly, I can say that the resultant of F1, F4, F3 has to be equal and opposite to F2. Similarly, resultant of F2, F3, F4 has to be equal and opposite to F1. You can even see it from here. If I ask you, beta, what is F1 plus F2 plus F3? Looking here, you will say F1 plus F2 plus F3 has to be equals to minus times F4. If F1 plus F2 plus F3 equals to minus times F4, this means that the resultant of these three has the same magnitude as that of F4 but opposite the direction. So let's do a pretty simple question based on this. Four particles A, B, C, D apply a net force 0 on a block of mass 5 kg. If A, applying a force of 2i cap plus 3j cap plus 4k cap, stops to apply force, find the acceleration. So there are four friends applying force, the net force is 0. Out of them, A apply this much of force, but then A stops applying force. Then what will be the acceleration of block? Once A stops applying force, B, C, D will still apply force. I can say that the force applied by B plus force applied by C plus force applied by D equals to minus times of the force applied by, because I know when all these four forces were acting, net force was 0. So the resultant of these three forces which are still acting is nothing but minus times the force applied by A, that is 2i cap plus 3j cap plus 4k cap. So what will be the acceleration? Acceleration of the block of mass 5 kg has to be the net force acting on it divided by its mass. The net force acting is minus of 2i cap plus 3j cap plus 4k cap divided by the mass, which is 5. This comes out to be the result. Next thing, let's say there is a wall. From the wall connected is a string, and from this string hangs a sphere. If we look at the free body diagram of this sphere, which forces will be acting on this sphere? A force of normal by the wall, a force of gravity downward, and a force of tension here. Okay. If I ask you what is the relationship between tension, normal, and force of gravity, you can say one thing, dekh bhai. The vector T plus vector N plus vector force of gravity has to be 0. Because these three forces add up to 0. This is one way. Another way, if you want to compare their magnitude, then what to do? Notice that the resultant of normal and gravity has to be equal and opposite to that of tension. The resultant of normal and gravity has to be equal and opposite to that of tension. So you can say, since normal and gravity are perpendicular, their resultant will be somewhere here. What will be the magnitude of this resultant? The magnitude of this resultant will be under root of fg square plus n square. At what angle? Let's say at some angle theta with this vertical force, and the tension x exactly opposite to it. So first thing first, you can say that the resultant of normal and gravity has to be equal and opposite to tension. So tension equals to, the magnitude of tension equals to the magnitude of resultant of normal and gravity. So this is the second thing you get. Okay. Third thing, this angle theta, which will be equal to the resultant, let's say, make some angle theta here. So this angle also have to be theta. So this angle also have to be theta. So you will say that tan theta, looking here kids, tan theta has to be equals to n by force of gravity. So normal by mg. These are the three things we can do. Now let's say there is this chain of weight W hanging from ceiling. Question is, what is the force applied by chain on ceiling? What is the force applied by chain on ceiling? If the chain applies some force F on ceiling, by Newton's third law, the ceiling will also apply the same force F on chain but in opposite direction. So if we look at the free body diagram of chain, let's say the ceiling on the right support applies a force F. Due to symmetry, I can say the ceiling on the left support will also apply a force F. Now kids, if this angle is theta, this angle is also theta. If this angle is theta, this angle is also theta. The weight of the chain is W. If the net force on the chain is 0, if the chain is in equilibrium, then the net force has to be 0 in all directions. Here, I will balance out force in vertical direction. So I can write F sine theta plus F sine theta. 2F sine theta equals to weight. So the net upward force because of the component of ceiling force 2F sine theta has to be equal to weight of chain. So the force applied by ceiling on chain has to be W by 2 sine theta. This is the force applied by ceiling on chain at one of the support. So let's do very simple question based on equilibrium. First question, there is a block of mass 5 kg placed on a surface. What will be the force of normal acting on it? So now, if you look at the free body diagram of this block, it means that all the forces acting on it. On this, there will be a force of gravity downward, and this force of gravity will be m into g50, and there will be a normal upwards. Now, since the net force has to be 0, normal has to be equal to 50. Now, next thing, there is a block of 2 kg now placed above the block of mass 5 kg. What is the force of normal applied by 5 kg on 2 kg? And what is the force of normal applied by surface on 5 kg? So now here, let's look at first 2 kg. Let's say the 5 kg applies a normal N1 on the 2 kg, and another force acting on 2 kg will be gravity downward 20. Similarly, for 5 kg, there will be 3 forces now. A force applied by ground on 5 kg, let's call it N2. A force applied by 2 kg on 5 kg. Since 5 kg applies on 2 kg a force N1 upwards, 2 kg will apply on 5 kg a force N1 downwards. Plus, there will be a force of gravity downwards 50. So now, you can say that if 2 kg is in equilibrium, then N1 has to be equal to 20. And if the 5 kg has to be in equilibrium, then the net force on 5 kg also have to be 0. If the net force on 5 kg have to be 0, then the net upward force has to be equal to net downward force. The net upward force acting on 5 kg is only N2, because that is the only force upward. And the net force acting downward is N1 plus 50. So you can say that N2 equals to N1 plus 50. You have already found that N1 is 20. So if you substitute it, you get N2 equals to 70. Now, I want you to visualize this. Think of this as a whole system of mass 7 kg placed on the table. If the whole mass of 7 kg is placed on table and is in equilibrium, it means that the force applied by table up must be equal to 70 Newton. So you don't need to write equation to find tension or normal in each part individually. Moving on to next case. What will be the force of normal applied by 3 kg on 2 kg? So the force of normal applied by 3 kg on 2 kg. Now here 3 kg supports the weight of 2 kg. So the force of normal applied by B on A has to be 20 Newton. Similarly, what will be the normal applied by 5 kg on this 2 kg 3 kg system? The 2 kg 3 kg system placed above the 5 kg has an overall mass of 5 kg. 2 plus 3 is 5. So the force of normal applied by C on B, force of normal by C on B equals to the weight of this 5 kg, that is 50 Newton. Now, what is the normal force applied by ground on this 2 plus 3 plus 5 kg system? The force by ground on this whole system, the whole system has got mass of 10 kg. The normal applied by this base on the whole system of mass, so normal by base on C equals to whole mass of system 10 into 10, 100 Newton. What I like to ask here is, what is the force applied by base on 2 kg? There is no force applied by base on 2 kg. They are not at all in contact. Base applies only force on C. C apply force on B. B apply force on A. Base do not apply any force on A. Next example. There is a block of mass 10 kg placed on a surface. What is the force of normal if you push it down with a force of 30? So again, make the free body diagram. If you look at the forces acting on it, the ground must be applying some normal upward, let's say N. There is a force downward 30, some external force, and there has to be a force of gravity that will be 100. If the net force has to be 0, then the force in upward direction has to be equal to force in downward direction. This 30 and force of gravity are downward. The force by the base N is upward. So if the net force has to be 0, then N has to be equal to 100 plus 30, that is 130. Next, now this time on table we have a block of mass 5 kg, and on this block of mass 5 kg there is an upward force of 100 Newton. Question is, what will be the force of normal applied by base on block? If you start thinking that, okay, this is the block of mass 5 kg, upward there is a force of 100, and let's say upward there will be a force of normal N, and downward there will be a force of gravity 50. It means that 100 plus N, the net upward force, has to be equal to net downward force 50. This applies that normal reaction comes out to be minus 50. That is wrong. Why? If your normal reaction came out to be minus 50, it means that the direction of normal reaction you have assumed is wrong. As if the normal reaction is not acting upward, it is acting downward. That can't happen. Normal force has to be pushing in nature. So the surface must push the block up. It can't pull it down. It must push it up. So now here, what is the answer? The answer is 0. Why is the normal reaction in this case is going to be 0? Reason being, the upward force acting is more than the weight of the block. If the upward force acting is more than the weight of the block will start rising up. And since the block starts rising up, it will lose contact with the ground. Since it loses contact with the ground, the normal reaction becomes 0. So the appropriate answer here is normal reaction is 0. Next example, there is a block of mass 4 kg connected to a string. If the block is in equilibrium, what is the tension in string? So think of the free body diagram. The force of tension is always pulling in nature. So this string will pull the block upward, let's say with a tension T, and downward there will be a force of gravity 40. If the block is in equilibrium, then T has to be equal to 40. Next, now this time two masses are hanged, 4 kg and 6 kg from the string system. Question is, what is the tension in upper string? What is the tension in lower string? So let's say the tension in upper string is T1. The upper string pulls both ceiling as well as 4 kg. And let's say the tension in lower string is T2. So the lower string pulls both the 4 kg down as well as the 6 kg up. So question is, what has to be the value of T1 and T2? Now make the free body diagram of each block. On the 6 kg block, there will be downward force of 60. There is upward force of T2. If the net force on the 6 kg block is 0, then the force of gravity pulling it down 60 must be equal to T2. So T2 equals to 60. This is the first equation which I got. Second, if we think of 4 kg, on 4 kg, 3 forces are acting. The lower string pulls it down T2. The upper string pulls it up T1, and there is a force of gravity 40. Under the influence of these 3 forces, so an upward force T1, a downward force T2, which we have already found is 60, and a downward force of gravity, that is 40. So T1 has to be equal to T2 plus 40. T1 has to be equal to T2 plus 40, and T2 itself is 60. So you get that T1 has to be equals to 100. Or kids, you can think, this lower string supports the weight of the 6 kg. So the tension here has to be 60. This upper string supports the weight of 4 kg plus 6 kg. Since the upper string supports the weight of both of them, that's why the tension here has to be mass of the whole system hanging below 10 kg into 10, that is 100. Next example, there is a block of mass 10 kg hanging from a string. Somebody externally applied a force of 10 Newton down. Now what has to be the tension in string? Let's say the tension in string is T. So on this 10 kg block, if we make the free body diagram, there will be three forces acting. An upward force of tension T, a downward force of gravity 100, a downward external force 20. If the net force has to be 0, then the net upward force has to be equal to net downward force. So you will write T equals to 100 plus 20, that is 120. Next example. The same 10 kg block, the same string, but this time rather than applying external force downward 20, we have applied it upward 20. Now what will be the tension in string? So again, if we look at the free body diagram, all the forces acting on it, there is an upward force of tension T, there is an upward external force 20, and there is a force of gravity 100. If the net force on the block is 0, then the net upward force equals to net downward force. So you can write T plus 20 equals to 100, or the tension has to be 80. Next question. Same block of mass 10 kg, same string, but this time the upward acting force is 120. Now what will be the tension? Now let's say we again make the same thing, tension upward T, weight downward 100, and an upward force of 120. We get the net upward force equals to net downward force. So T plus 120 equals to 100. So T comes out to be minus 20. The minus sign here, the minus 20 tells us that the force of tension is not upward, it is downward. So can that happen? No, the force of tension is always pulling in nature. The force of tension can't push this block downward. Then sir, how to answer? If you get the tension rather than pulling to be pushing in nature, it means that this is the case where tension becomes 0. So notice that this is the block of mass 10 kg. Upward we have applied a force of 120 Newton. The force acting upward is more than the weight of the block. Since the force acting upward is more than the weight of the block will start rising up. The string will get loosened and the tension will become 0. So let's do some more questions. First question. There is a block of mass 5 kg, and as you can see there are two forces acting on it, a force of 30 Newton to right and a force of 10 Newton to left. Question is, what is the net acceleration of this block? So you can see that a force of 30 to right, 10 to left. This means that a net force of 20 towards right. If the net force is 20 and mass is 5, then the acceleration has to be equal to force upon mass. The net force is 20, mass is 5, so the net acceleration is 20 by 5, that is 4 meter per second square towards right. Next example, this time rather than having single block of mass 5 kg, we have got two blocks, but they are not at all placed in contact. A block of 2 kg on which only a single force of 20 Newton act, and a block of 4 kg on which only a single force of 10 Newton act. If on the 2 kg block there is a force of 20 towards right, what will be the acceleration of this block? So the acceleration of this 2 kg will be force by mass 20 by 2, that is 10 meter per second square towards right. Similarly, on this 4 kg there is a force of 10. So the acceleration of this 4 kg has to be equals to 10 by 4, that is 2.5 meter per second square towards right. Will these two blocks collide? If both of them start from rest and the further one has got more acceleration, they will never ever collide. The separation between them keeps on increasing since 2 kg has got higher acceleration than the 4 kg. But this time, let's say now these two are placed in contact, and when these two are placed in contact, on 2 kg there is a force of 20 applied, on 4 kg there is a force of 10 applied. Now what will be the acceleration of system? As soon as students get this question, they start thinking, okay, on 4 kg there is a force of 10, on 2 kg there is a force of 20. So the net force on system is 20 plus 10, that is 30. The net force on system is 30 towards right. The mass of the system is 6. So the acceleration of system has to be equal to the net force acting on system 30 divided by mass of the system 6. So the acceleration comes out to be equal to 30 by 6, that is 5 meter per second square towards right. If you do this, you will be wrong. Why? Here comes physics. Physics comes from visualization of real world. Let's say you have got two blocks and you pull only the front block. Will the rear block move? So now here the tendency of this block alone is to have an acceleration of 10 meter per second square. If on this block of mass 4 kg, a force of 10 Newton act, it has got tendency to accelerate with 2.5 meter per second square. This one has got more acceleration than that one. They are not pushing each other. They will separate out from each other. So in this case, they will lose contact. The normal reaction between them will be 0. the acceleration of 2 kg will be 10 meter per second square and the acceleration of 4 kg will be 2.5 meter per second square towards right. Okay, towards right. Let's do now next question. Now let's say we again have 4 kg and 2 kg block. This time on 2 kg block a force of 20 acts towards right, and on the 4 kg block a force of 10 acts towards right. If you look at them independently, the 4 kg block independently will have an acceleration of 2.5. The 2 kg block, if 4 kg do not exist, will have acceleration of 20 by 2, that is 10. This means that the one behind has got higher tendency to accelerate than the one in front. So the one behind will push the one in front, and because of that a normal reaction will be created between them. Since a normal reaction will be created between them, and I know that in this case they are constrained to move together. In this case they are constrained to move together. So how can you say? Okay, visualize this, kids. Let's say we have got these two markers. Okay, on my hand, marker 1, marker 2. Can you see? Okay. Two markers. If I push the marker behind more, then both of them will move. But if I pull the marker in front, then the marker behind do not move. So you have to visualize this. Physics is the study of real world. So you have to think why here both of them move together and why here both of them separate out. So now here, since both of them are constrained to move together, the net force on the entire system. Now, since they are accelerating together, you can think of whole of this as one rigid body, one single body having a mass of 6 kg. So if you treat the whole system as a rigid body of mass 6 kg, the net force on this system is 30. The mass of this system is 6 kg. So the combined acceleration of both of them comes out to be 30 by 6, that is 5 meter per second square. But voila, they might ask you what is the normal reaction acting between 2 kg and 4 kg. To find the normal reaction acting between 2 and 4, you have to make free body diagram of any one of them. Here I am making free body diagram of 2 kg. If I look at the horizontal forces acting on this 2 kg, there is a force of 20 Newton from outside. 2 will push 4, 4 will push 2. Force of normal has to be pushing in nature. And under the influence of these two horizontal force, external force 20, normal force n, this 2 kg block, we know that accelerates with an acceleration of 5. We can write the equation, the net force in direction of acceleration equals to mass into acceleration. So the net force towards right is 20 minus n, and this has to be equals to mass into acceleration. So the normal reaction comes out to be 10. Now let's do one more question. Now this time, let's say we have got 4 kg and 6 kg block. Okay, two blocks of mass 4 kg, 6 kg. From the left, we are pushing with a force of 80. From the right, someone is pushing with the force of 20. Now again, I know that since the force from the left is more, the system will move towards right. And this is again the case when both of them are constrained to move together. Since both of them are constrained to move together, we will take the whole system as a single block of mass 10 kg. So now, on this single block of mass 10 kg, 4 kg plus 6 kg, 10 kg. What will you take the net force as? So force from the left 80, force from the right 20. So the net force is 80 minus 20, that is 60. So the net force is 60 towards right. Net force is 60 towards right. Mass is 10 kg. So the acceleration of the system comes out to be 60 by 10. That is 6 meter per second square towards right. Now, next question. Whose acceleration will be 6 meter per second square? Both of them. The 4 kg will have acceleration of 6 meter per second square towards right, as well as 6 kg will have acceleration of 6 meter per second square towards right. Next question. What will be the normal reaction acting between them? So as to find the normal reaction acting between 4 kg and 6 kg, you will have to make free body diagram of any one of them. So either make free body diagram of 4 kg or make free body diagram of 6 kg. For the sake of understanding, I am making free body diagram of 6 kg. So let's say the 4 kg block pushes the 6 kg block with a force N. And from external, there is a force of 20. On 6 kg block, only these two forces are acting. On 6 kg block, no 80 Newton force is acting. The 80 Newton force act on 4. Then 4 pushes 6. The force with which 4 pushes 6, that is N. So the net force acting on the 6 kg towards right is N minus 20. the net force in direction of acceleration equals to mass into acceleration, 36. So the normal reaction acting between them has to be 36 plus 20, that is 56. Next example. Now let's say we have got, rather than 2 blocks, we have got 3 blocks, 5, 3, 2. And somebody pushes from here with a force of 100 and from there with a force of 40. What will be the acceleration? So as you can see, the net force on system is 100 minus 40, that is 60. The net mass of system total, because I know that again this time all three will move together towards right, because from this side forces move. So treat it like a whole rigid body of mass 10 kg, and the combined acceleration of all three will come out to be the net force upon total mass, that is 6 meter per second square. That is a cakewalk. That is an easy thing. The difficult part is they might ask what is the force of normal between 5 and 3, or what is the normal between 3 and 2. So if you need to find the force of normal between 5 and 3, I will make the free body diagram of 5 and 3. On 5 kg, there is an external force of 100. Yes. 5 kg block pushes the 3 kg block. So 3 kg block pushes the 5 kg block. So the force by 3 kg block on 5 kg block has to be towards left. Let's call it N. Under the influence of these two forces, 100 and N, this 5 kg has got an acceleration of 6 meter per second square towards right. Make the equation as the net force acting in direction of acceleration equals to mass into acceleration. So the normal reaction comes out to be 70. Similarly, if you need to find normal reaction between 3 kg and 2 kg, make the free body diagram of 2 kg. On this 2 kg, let's say 3 kg applies a force N dash, normal N dash. And on 2 kg, there is an external force of 40. Under the influence of N dash and 40, the 2 kg block moves towards right with an acceleration of 6 meter per second square. So you can write the equation for 2 kg. The net force acting in direction of acceleration equals to mass into acceleration. So N dash minus 40, N dash minus 40 equals to 12. So the normal reaction comes out to be 40 plus 12, that is 52. So the force applied by 3 on 2 will be 52. The force applied by 5 on 3 comes out to be 70. So now let's take the string cases, simple cases. First question. There are 2 blocks of mass 4 kg, 6 kg, and there is a force of 100 Newton pulling it. 2 question. Will the 2 blocks move together? So you have to visualize. If I have got first block and a string and a second block, and if I start pulling the first block, will both of them move, or will only the first one move? If only the first one moves, this means that the string will either get broken or the string will be stretching. The type of string we are using here are inextensible, so the length of string should remain constant. So if the 6 kg block moves, the 4 kg is constrained to move with it. Now since we know that both of them will move with the same acceleration, I will treat this 4 and 6 as a system of rigid body. As if both move with the same acceleration, I can treat it as like this string to be made up of iron. So everything is made up of iron, though the string is massless. So now question is, what will be the acceleration? So you will say, Dekh bhai, the mass of whole system is 10 kg, force is 100 Newton. So the acceleration of this whole system has to be 100 by 10. So acceleration comes out to be 10 meter per second square. Next question that might get asked, what will be the tension? So here for tension, either think of the free body diagram of 4 kg or 6 kg. I will recommend 4 kg. So you can think that there is only one force acting on 4 kg, that is tension. And because of this force, it accelerates with an acceleration of 10 meter per second square. So if the 4 kg accelerates with an acceleration of 10 meter per second square when only a single force Tx on it, then the tension must be equal to mass into acceleration. So 4 into 10, that comes out to be 40 Newton. Next example. Now let's say rather than having only one force acting on the same system of 4 kg and 6 kg, this time we have got 2 forces acting. One, a force of 100 towards right. Second, a force of 20 towards left. So now question is, what will be the combined acceleration? What will be the tension? So will they accelerate together? Yes or no? So think that you have got 2 blocks. On the left hand side, there is more force, and on this side there is less force. So overall, the system of these 2 blocks must accelerate towards right because on this side you have got greater force of 100. So what will be the combined acceleration? The combined acceleration has to be net force divided by total mass. Net force is 100 minus 20, 80. Total mass is 10. So the net acceleration comes out to be 8 meter per second square towards right. Net force 80 divided by total mass 10. Next question. What is the tension? To find tension, either think of the free body diagram of 4 kg or 6 kg. You think of any one, you will get the same answer. This time, let's think of 6 kg. On this 6 kg block, there are two forces acting. A force of 100 towards right, external force, and a force of tension T. Under the influence of these two forces, we know that it accelerates with an acceleration of 8 meter per second square towards right. Always write the equation as the net force acting in direction of acceleration 100 minus T equals to mass into acceleration 48. So the net force acting in direction of acceleration equals to mass into acceleration. So the tension comes out to 100 minus 48, that is 52. Next thing. Now let's say rather than having two blocks, we have got three blocks. 5 kg, 3 kg, 2 kg, a force of 100 towards right, a force of 20 towards left. Now how to find acceleration and how to find tension in each string? So let's say the tension in this string connecting 5 kg and 3 kg is T1, T1. And the tension in this string connecting 3 kg and 2 kg is T2, T2. So now, the net force on whole system is 100 minus 20, 80 towards right. And the mass of whole system is 5 plus 3 plus 2, 10 kg. So again you get the whole system has got an acceleration of 8 meter per second square towards right. Now question is, how to find tension in the first string, how to find the tension in second string. To find the tension in first string, make the free body diagram of 5 kg. On this 5 kg, there are two forces acting, T1 towards right and 20 towards left. And under the influence of these two forces, T1 and 20, it has got an acceleration of 8 towards right. So you will write the net force in direction of acceleration, T1 minus 20 equals to mass into acceleration, 40. So from here you get that T1 equals to 60. Now, going ahead, to find T2, you can make the equation on this 2 kg. On this 2 kg, external force is 100, tension is T2, and under the influence of these two forces, 100 and T2, it also accelerates with an acceleration of 8 meter per second square towards right. So what is the value of T2? So you will say the net force in direction of acceleration, 100 minus T2 equals to mass into acceleration, 8 into 2, 16. So T2 comes out to be equal to 100 minus 16, and 100 minus 16 is 84. So the tension in the second string has to be 84, in first string has to be 60. Moving on to next question. Now we have got two blocks of mass 6 kg, 4 kg. On the forward block, there is a force of 60. On the backward block, there is a force of 40. Question is, will the string remain tight or not? How to answer this? Will they both accelerate together or not? So see, the string will remain tight when the acceleration of forward block will be having higher magnitude than that of backward. If let's say these are the two blocks connected. If let's say this block has got tendency of acceleration of 4 meter per second square, tendency if there is no string, and this one has got 2 meter per second square, then the forward block will try to pull the backward block and they will move with the same acceleration. To the contrary, if backward has got tendency of acceleration of 4 and forward has got 2, then the string will get loosened up. So here the string will remain tight or the string will loosen up. What will happen? The answer is, in this case the string remains tight. But sir, if I can't understand that string remains tight or it loosens up, what to do? Then beta, simple procedure. Assume that there is some tension in string. Tension force always have to be pulling in nature. Solve for tension. If the tension comes out to be positive, you have solved it right. If the tension comes out to be negative, it means that the tension is 0. Okay, remember that. But be cautious what direction you take tension in. So sir, how to approach? How do I know that the string will be tight or loose? Let's say the tension in this string is T. Understand that the force of tension has to be pulling in nature. So it is pulling the 6 kg forward, 4 kg backward. The net force on system is how much? 100. The net mass of system, 10 kg. So the combined acceleration of system comes out to be 100 by 10, that is 10 meter per second square. Now let's calculate tension. Making the free body diagram of anyone, sorry, net force is 100, net mass is 10, 10 meter per second square. Now let's make the free body diagram of anyone to find tension. Let's make it on 6 kg. So if we make the free body diagram of 6 kg, towards the right tension is T, towards the right only the force is 40, and we know that under the influence of these two forces, the system will have a combined acceleration of 10. So you will say T plus 40, the net force in direction of acceleration equals to mass into acceleration 60. On solving, you will get T equals to 20. Since the sign of tension came out to be positive, I can say that the tension is positive. It has the value of 20. The string do not loosen up. If the string would have loosened up, I would have got a negative answer for tension. So now we will talk about Atwood machine. Atwood machine is not a machine as such, but it's called so. A pulley connected with string with two blocks here is called an Atwood machine. Now let's say kids, the mass M1 is greater than M2. If mass M1 is greater than M2, we know that M1 will accelerate down, M2 will accelerate up. Let's say the downward acceleration of M1 has magnitude A and the upward acceleration of M2 has magnitude A. Do both of them have same acceleration? No. Acceleration is a vector quantity. One of them has acceleration downward A, another one has upward A. Do both of them have same magnitude of acceleration? Yes. Now here, question is how to find this magnitude of acceleration. So now let's say the string connected here has a tension T everywhere. Okay. First, think of the free body diagram of M1. On M1 there will be two forces, M1G, upward tension T, and let's say under the influence of these two forces it goes down with an acceleration A. So first equation you will write the net force in direction of acceleration equals to mass into acceleration. When I say this, students, don't take it seriously. The net force in direction of acceleration equals to mass into acceleration. Since I have assumed acceleration downward, that's why I am writing the net force in downward direction. M1G minus T equals to M1A. Second, making equation on M2. On M2, two forces are acting, an upward force of tension T, a downward force of gravity M2G. Again, since the acceleration of M2 is taken upward, I will write equation as the net force acting in direction of acceleration equals to mass into acceleration. So T minus M2G equals to M2. Our mission is to find acceleration. Now we have got first equation, we have got second equation. If we add them up, you can see here minus T, here plus T, they will get cancelled. So on the left hand side, you will have M1 minus M2 into G. And on the right hand side, you will have M1 plus M2 into A. So the acceleration comes out to be simply M1 minus M2 into G upon M1 plus M2. The next thing that we need to remember is the tension in this string. Now see how to find tension. We know the acceleration of M1 using again this equation and substituting the value of acceleration, we can find tension. So what to do? In place of acceleration, M1G minus T equals to M1A. So tension can be written as M1G minus M1A. In place of A, substitute acceleration as M1 minus M2 into G upon M1 plus M2. Now multiply this M1 plus M2 to the first term and then solve it out. On solving, you get that the tension in this string comes out to be 2 M1 M2G by M1 plus M2. 2 M1 M2G by M1 plus M2. Now question is sometimes asked, what is the tension in this string connecting pulley to the ceiling? Let's say the tension in this string is Tp. What is the value of this? So for this, we need to make the free body diagram of the pulley. On the pulley, there are three forces acting. Tp, the force by this string, tension down, tension down. If the pulley is in equilibrium, then the net force acting on the pulley must be 0. So Tp must be equal to T plus T, 2T. If Tp equals to 2T and T itself is 2M1 M2G by M1 plus M2, then Tp has to be 2 times of 2M1 M2G by M1 plus M2, that is 4M1 M2G by M1 plus M2. So now we will learn something of great importance, that is called equation along the string. Now let's say we have got two blocks of 2 kg, 8 kg, and on the 8 kg block there is a force of 80 Newton towards right, and on the 2 kg block there is a force of 20 Newton towards left. If I ask you what will be the acceleration of the system, you will simply say that the acceleration of the system has to be equal to net force 80 minus 20 60 upon the total mass, that is 10. So you will say that the net acceleration is 6 meter per second square towards y. If I even ask you what is the tension in this string, you will say, since I know the acceleration, to find the tension I can think of free body diagram of any one of the mass. Now in the case of Atwood machine, we have got two blocks of mass 2 kg and 8 kg. Now if I ask you what is the acceleration, can I use the same method? If no, then why not? Here we can treat the whole thing as a rigid body because both the blocks have same acceleration. So sir, here also both the blocks have same acceleration. In the last slide only, I said that they don't have the same acceleration. They don't have the same acceleration. Why? Because one of them have got acceleration down and another one has got acceleration up. So how to solve this question making both the acceleration same? If you would have continued in your course of, let's say, mathematics after class 12, you would have known mathematics gives you the liberty to choose the axis as you want. You can have a straight axis, you can have two perpendicular axes, you can have two axes at some angle. Moreover, you can have a curved axis. So now here we use the concept of equation along the string. Imagine an axis which is parallel to the string. So think of this x-axis, positive x, negative x, bend it, give it the shape of the string and place it over the string. Now this side plus x goes down here, this side minus x goes down here. So now here, if now somebody asks you what is the direction of acceleration of 8 kg, you will say the acceleration of 8 kg is a towards positive x. What is the direction of acceleration of 2 kg? It is also a towards positive x. So thinking of equation along the string, you have made acceleration of both of them same. Now how to solve? Very simple. On this system, on the 8 kg, there is a force of 80 Newton towards positive x. On the 2 kg, there is a force of 20 Newton towards negative x. So this 8 kg, 80 Newton wanted to move the system towards positive x. 20 Newton want to move the system towards negative x. Who will win? Definitely the heavier force will win. So the net force which tried to move the whole system towards positive x is 80 minus 20. 80 minus 20 is 60. So the acceleration has to be net force upon total mass of system. So 60 by 10, that comes out to be 6 meter per second square. So this block has got downward acceleration of 6, this block has got upward acceleration of 6. Now let's again use the equation along the string on this question. Let's say rather than having two mass of 2 and 8, we have got two mass of 4 and 6. Now again, if we imagine our mission is to find acceleration of block and the tension in string. Again, if we imagine an axis along the string, let's say positive x and negative x. On the 6 kg, there is a force of gravity 60 down towards positive x. On the 4 kg, there is a force of 40 down towards negative x. This force of 60 tries to move the system towards positive x. This force of 40 tries to move the system towards negative x. Who will win? Definitely the stronger force will win. So what is the net force which tries to move the whole system towards positive x? 60 minus 40. So take the force as 20. And the mass of whole system is 4 plus 6. Mass of system is 10. This means that the acceleration has to be 20 by 10, 2 meter per second square. So this 6 kg will have downward acceleration of 2 meter per second square and this 4 kg will have upward acceleration of 2 meter per second square. But sir, how to find tension? Very simple. To find tension, you just have to look at any one of the blocks. Either look at 6 or look at 4. If you look at 4, let's say 4 has got tension T up, a downward force of gravity 40 down, and under the influence of these two forces, it goes up with an acceleration of 2 meter per second square. Always write the equation. The net force in direction of acceleration equals to mass into acceleration. So T minus 40, the net force upwards equals to mass into acceleration 8. So tension has to be 48. By the way, you can check that this tension also comes from the formula 2m1 m2g upon m1 plus m2. So the tension here has to be 48. Tension here has to be 48. If the tension here is 48, tell me what has to be tension here? Yes, double of it. So that will be 96 Newton. So let's practice some problem using the concept of equation along the string. The first case, you have got this horizontal surface over which a block of mass 6 kg is placed and a block of mass 4 kg hangs from the side. Question is, what will be the acceleration if the 4 kg has downward acceleration A and 6 kg has got acceleration A towards right? What will be the acceleration? And second, what will be the tension in string? We won't raise pen to answer these type of question. On this, if I take this axis as my, take the axis along the string, that's why I called equation along the string. So if I take this as positive x and this as negative x, okay. On this positive x, there is a force of gravity 40, which is trying to drive the system in direction of positive x. But on 6 kg, the force of gravity acts vertically downward. Notice that if this is the axis and this is the force, this force of gravity is perpendicular to axis. That's why there is no component of this force of 60 along the axis. So the net force trying to move the whole system along the axis is only 40. The force is 40, the mass of the whole system is 10. So the acceleration has to be nothing but 40 by 10, that is 4 meter per second square. Now, if they ask you, tell me what is the tension here. So for finding tension, either make equation on 4 kg or make it on 6 kg. Definitely making it on 6 kg will be smarter move. You will say the force of tension equals to mass of 6 kg into acceleration. Mass of 6 kg is 6, acceleration is 4. So the tension has to be 24. You would have got the same tension if you would have made equation on 4 kg. Now let's do this case. Now rather than having 2 blocks, we have got 3 blocks and 2 pulleys. There is a block of 5 kg, 3 kg, 2 kg. 5 kg, 3 kg, 2 kg. Connected by 2 strings. Definitely this side is heavier, so this will accelerate down. When the 5 kg moves down, the 3 kg must move towards right. And as the whole system turns, the 2 kg must go up. Let's say the tension in this part of string is T1, T1, and the tension in this part of string is T2, T2. Question is, what will be the acceleration? So again, this time, assume your axis along the string. So this is your axis. Take this side as, let's say, positive x, this side as negative x. On this 5 kg, a force of 50 x towards positive x. On this 3 kg, the force of 30 x downward, but it doesn't have any component along the axis, so it doesn't matter. On this 2 kg, there will be a force of 20 towards negative x. So a force of 50 towards positive x, a force of 20 towards negative x. The net force which tries to turn the whole system towards positive x is 50 minus 20. So the net force is 30. And the mass of the whole system is 5 plus 3 plus 2, that is 10. So the mass of the whole system is 10. Force on the whole system is 30. So the acceleration comes out to be 3 meter per second square. So this 5 will have downward acceleration of 3. This 3 will have towards right acceleration of 3. And the 2 will have upward acceleration of 3. Now, if you need to find T1, how to find the tension in this first string? So you will say, think on the forces acting on this 5 kg. On this 5 kg, there is a downward force of gravity 50. There is an upward force of tension T1. Under the influence of these two forces, it goes down with an acceleration of 3 meter per second square. So the net force in direction of acceleration equals to mass into acceleration. So you'll write 50 minus T1 equals to mass into acceleration 15. So T1 comes out to be 50 minus 15, that is 35. Similarly, here for second block, how to find T2? Make equation on 2 kg. On this 2 kg, there are two forces acting, upward T2, downward 20. Under the influence of these two forces, it goes up with an acceleration of 3. So you will write the net force in a direction of acceleration T2 minus 20 equals to mass into acceleration 6. So T2 has to be equals to 26. Okay. Next thing. Now let's use the same thing, equation along the string, to find acceleration and tension in this string. It's a very easy thing. First of all, assume an axis along the string. Let's say this is positive x, this is negative x. On this 6 kg, there will be a force of 60 towards positive x. On this 4 kg, there will be a force of 40 downward. 40 downwards. But this time, the force is not perpendicular to axis. So there will be a component of this force of gravity 40 downwards along the axis. What will be that component? So that will be 40 sine 30. And we know that sine 30 is half. So the component of this 40 along the string comes out to be 40 sine 30. 40 sine 30. That is equals to 40 into half, that is 20. So think that a force of 60 towards positive x, a force of 20 towards negative x. So the net force towards positive x comes out to be 60 minus 20. 60 minus 20 is 40. So the net force you can think of it as 40, and the mass of system as 6 plus 4, 10. So the acceleration of system has to be 40 by 10, that is 4. Now once you know that acceleration is 4, you can find out the tension. How? Let's say the tension here is T. So you will write equation on 6 kg. On 6 kg downward force 60, upward force T. Under the influence of these two forces, downward acceleration 4. So you will write the net force in direction of acceleration 60 minus T equals to mass into acceleration 24. So here we get T equals to 36. The tension in this string has to be 36. Now this question. In this question, again we first of all take the axis along the string. Okay. So kids, let's say this is positive x, this is negative x. Now on this 5 kg there is a force of 50 towards positive x. On this 2 kg there is a force of 20 downward. So its component along the string, its component along the string will be 20 sine 30, and sine 30 is half. So that comes out to be 10. 2 kg, force of gravity 20, component sine 30 is half. So that comes out to be 10. And on the 3 kg, a force of 30 in negative x. So a force of 50, wanna drive it towards positive x. A force of 10, wanna drive it, which is the component of force of gravity on 2 kg towards negative x. And a force of 30, trying to drive it towards negative x. The net force towards positive x is 50 minus 10 minus 30. So 50 minus 10 minus 30 gives you plus 10. 50 minus 40, that is 10. So look here, the net force is 10, mass is 10, acceleration comes out to be 1. Now if they ask, okay, the tension in this string is T1 T1 and the tension in this string is T2 T2. What is T1? What is T2? So how to find? Very easy. To find T1, make the equation on 5 kg block. So on 5 kg block, you can see there are forces upward T1, downward 50. Under the influence of these two forces, it comes down with an acceleration of 1 meter per second square. Always make the equation the net force in direction of acceleration. Acceleration downward, so write the net force downward. 50 minus T equals to mass into acceleration 5. So T comes out to be 45. First thing. Now similarly, if you need to find T2, if this goes down with 1, this goes up the incline with 1, this will go upward with 1. So as to find the value of T2, make the equation on this 3 kg. So upward force T2, downward force 30, upward acceleration 1 meter per second square. The net force in direction of acceleration equals to mass into acceleration. So here you will get T2 minus 30 equals to 3 into 1, that is 3. So we get T2 comes out to be equals to 30